Hello.
Who are you working for?
Oh, boy, public
I
radio.
did.
I'm totally ready.
Set it up, but it's not scheduled. Call home and they want. Well, hopefully you can find something that's like travel. So I asked them about that in the hot food. Then there's fun shit. Because we could meet in the airport. You know, they're gonna be fine. They check their own bags. I don't know how it's like that. Oh. Is that the interview one yet? Oh. Yeah.
But you know what, what's weird though is like you get that age and you have this morbid like sense of humor. And it's great for you, but for everyone around you.
So can I refer people to him? Just for me.
Right here. Yeah, you go. Yeah.
Studying BBC call.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're getting Bob McLaren.
You should have another time like bring out this,
He's the
getting into a car or something
associate
like that.
director.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or getting into a restaurant.
Traveling at the moment
Oh, right. We'll post this. Yeah. Basically about this, I think basically he's just gonna thank the governor for his leadership and say yes. Hello. You guys are- oh. Yeah.
feel. Thank you guys. Especially.
Pretty sure they're all, yeah. It's just a matter of knowing.
But he works in voice.
Hey.
Yep. Why you want to record it? Oh, he's. Oh, ambient. Just a brief check. Funny thing is that kind of
Hey, I didn't even see you. But,
When I left it, like, well,
oh, the meeting,
yeah.
yeah, Lisa called, so it sounds like she's the one who's covering. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. You know, we're gonna, just so you know, just so you know, we're having a really quick question and answer. We're gonna keep it tight. This is how he's just on a tight schedule, so. Probably less than that. So, if you hear somebody else ask your question, we'd appreciate it.
Not as, maybe a lower. Well, yeah, we were gonna do all this. Never really ended up happening. We gave all the reporters lots of little cameras.
I think we're kind of already online for that. If you read the comprehensive master plan, there is all two boards. Because you did the construction fell apart, it's too old. No.
Is 13 right now? She started Max had room for like a while and then all the way to, it was like, just the beginning of the very last couple of seconds.
Can I stand here? Oops. Not if I do that. Shit. How about right here? Where? Oh, yeah. Well, am I supposed to stand? Hmm? Can you? Yeah, you can't stand.
Yeah, we can share.
Can we share? I need to be careful though. I don't want to hit my sticks. I'll go into silent mode so I won't be totally chattering around. I didn't. Too recently.
I've asked before.
It's better. It's not as fast though.
I mean, I don't know, especially when we're doing one-on-ones, where take pictures, like, I don't really care, but we have to do flash, I'm like, flash, shoot them after we're done.
Please.
Punk. Press conference, like, you do everybody, I mean, that's for everybody, but like, it's been happening lately, where we pull aside for one-on-one.
Might not know. They might not know.
Yeah, well, I always say, hey, just turn your flash off and put a couple, like, usually the flash on. But once in a while I get like, I'm like, hey, this is not a press conference, this is a one-on-one interview. Just like, I don't believe not taking pictures. Press off and everyone's happy.
Make sure the flash is on.
Well, like I said, press conference is like, it's for everybody. And plus, the viewer is like, hey, it's a press conference.
Right.
But if it's like a one-on-one interview, and out of nowhere, it's like, you're at a park, and out of nowhere, the face is like, you know.
I think I did that to you, didn't
But it's like,
Sorry.
a lot of times, you know, like, it might not be a soundbite, or you can cover it, but the thing is, like, you don't like in a quarter, or have to cover it, because there's not enough time to edit, you just need it straight.
And then,
Sounds like he's on a tight schedule, so.
It's one shot is fine. Generally, it's like 12. This would be my.
I don't.
It sounded a nice haircut.
The podium looks crooked.
everybody's paying attention, you know.
Doesn't the podium look crooked?
Yeah, it's off the outside.
You don't care.
I mean,
That's something
my
that's-
OCD is going out of control. Like, work-wise.
Mine obviously is. It's all.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give it a little bit of the wabi sabi. Give it a little bit of the creative.
Trying to balance it on the corner. You see the guys who do that kind of stuff, like balance chairs on one foot.
No.
That trick where they get like a nickel or they can make a bar and you can balance it like on the edge or something. You always kind of get everybody to balance. Probably get like the out on the corner.
I'll try to dig out one second in this shot.
My shoulders will probably get a little triangle.
I think that beats the coin balancing trick.
I have to spin the camera around to dismount, just in case something happens.
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
It would be great.
Wasn't a reflection.
But then we would become the moons.
This thing called Regroup to Commute. It's energy accelerator.
Oh, that ship is.
Were you here for this weekend? No, I didn't.
This is not something
That's what
we
we
should
should
be
talk
talking
about.
about.
I wasn't, I didn't attend the weekend.
Hiking.
Oh, it can't be.
Oh, it was beautiful weather, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I was like,
how many people
well,
can
can't be.
do the shoulder lift at a
No,
festival?
mostly about.
Oh, the shoulder.
It's kind of unusual.
Do you know how that goes? Channel 4 in the newspaper did it. Yeah, that way, it's just story, it's story, it's story. It's never interesting until another station has it. Clamoring. Smart. I think I had like a terminal idea.
I need to borrow some. That would be good. Yeah, the mic is loud, so I can gather the way.
It's like you showered today.
Or vice versa. It's just everybody. Good to know.
Like I said, we talked about age and stuff. If I start feeling old, I just go, we're the same age.
Yeah.
I was curious yesterday about whatever one of the volunteers for the lantern thing. She was going on about how good I smell.
Oh, really?
It was funny too, she could come to a word for this, so she was saying like similar words like flavor or something like that. And someone told her smell. She just kept saying. So there's the extent of that. Every time she says it.
Pretty prominent though.
My sister is the more Republican portion of my family. I don't think so, yeah. This is inside there. She's on cases right there. At the back. Now she comes up once a month. Yeah, but this letter is-
Thank you all for convening this afternoon on such short notice. You know, my role as governor is to represent all of the people of Hawaii, our people, especially on critical and controversial matters. The issues surrounding Mauna Kea are contentious and on all sides very strongly felt. And because of that, the search for answers is very challenging and difficult. In moving forward, I believe our core values need to be: one, the importance of respecting our host culture and the special places of Hawaii; the critical role that science and technology play in the economic and educational life of our community. Our young people need to reach for the stars, literally and figuratively. Respect for the laws and the process of seeking and receiving approvals to do work here in Hawaii. The need in all our work as government and as a people to take the time to listen and to learn from each other, and especially from those who feel that they have not been heard. To act always with aloha. In reflecting on those values, we have in many ways failed the mountain. Whether you see it from a cultural perspective or from a natural resource perspective, we have not done right by a very special place, and we must act immediately to change that. The 30-meter telescope project went through the appropriate steps and got the appropriate approvals. I do not doubt that they did more than any previous project, telescope project, to be a good neighbor. This issue is in litigation at this time, and the courts will ultimately have their say on this case. In the meantime, however, TMT has the right to proceed with construction, and they may proceed as far as I'm concerned. And we will support and enforce their right to do so. We also acknowledge the right to protest this activity. We will protect the right to peacefully protest, and also will act to ensure the public safety and the right to use our roadways for lawful purposes. That is, however, not the end of the story. It is only the beginning. It is my own belief that the activities of Native Hawaiians and of our scientists to seek knowledge and to explore our relationship with our cosmos and its creation can and should coexist on the mountain. What has instead happened is that science has received most of the attention and has gotten way ahead of culture in our work on the mountain. The proper balance has been lost. From my own personal experience on the mountain, with all the noise and crowding, I could not feel the same special feeling that I felt the last time when I visited the summit at Mauna Kea more than 20 years ago. It felt and still feels entirely wrong. Mauna Kea is a special place, and we need to treat it like a special place. So what can we do to be better stewards of the mountain? That is the one key issue we have been talking about these past 2 weeks. And we received input from multiple perspectives. We received a petition from those protesting on the mountain, asking that public hearings be held on any new lease to the university, that we deny any renewal to the university, that any new development be restricted, including TMT, that fair market lease rent be charged and back rent sought, and that 20% of all revenues be provided as by law to OHA. We also received a petition from a young Native Hawaiian who wants to see the TMT project completed and astronomy encouraged. She saw her future as part of that discovery of science that is taught about as part of this project. And finally, we received a citizens group's request that the current EIS on the lease renewal be reopened for comment. And we have been part of several convened conversations with leaders of the Native Hawaiian community about Mauna Kea. Based on those conversations and our own visits and meetings, including many with strong supporters of the project, I am sharing with all of you my sense of how we go forward from here. First, my responsibility begins with the state of Hawaii and our need to change the way we exercise responsibility for Mauna Kea. One, we will change the management of the entire summit, all of which is state land, to bring cultural voices into the leadership structure so that all acts from here forward are sensitive to and observant of culture. We are establishing a Mauna Kea Cultural Council to work with the board and the Department of Land and Natural Resources and the governor's office to do a better job. Among the tasks, this group will be the review of all leases and lease renewals, of all proposed rules impacting the mountain, especially those relating to access, of any EIS preparation and any cultural impact assessment, of decommissioning plans and execution, working on leasing portions of the mountain to cultural groups, and the reconciliation of the various other uses of the mountain, including native species protection and forestry. We are currently putting the group together and hope to make an announcement on that shortly. In asking people to be part of this work, I am not making support of the TMT a requirement for those who agree to serve. We as a state are also committed to doing a much better job of monitoring compliance with all activities under any leases or subleases, and to act immediately if there are issues that need resolution. Such action may include the reopening of current leases or the suspension of processing extension requests. Secondly, the University of Hawaii must do a better job in its stewardship of the mountain. If we are going to be a long-term partner and landlord with the University of Hawaii, we expect the university to do its part as well. First, the university must begin by being forthright and public in accepting its need to do a better job in the future. Second, the university must formally and legally bind itself to the commitment that this is the last area on the mountain where a telescope project will be contemplated or sought. Third, the university must decommission as many telescopes as possible, with one to begin this year, and at least 25% of all telescopes gone by the time the TMT is ready for operation. Fourth, the university must restart the EIS process for its lease extension, including a full cultural impact assessment as part of that process. Fifth, access rules that significantly limit and condition non-cultural access to the mountain must be moved expeditiously through the process. There is far too much routine access to this special place, and it cannot continue to carry this burden. What I would hope to see is that future visitor access to the mountain be handled through the Native Hawaiian community so that visitors have a greater understanding of and respect for the cultural significance of Mauna Kea. Sixth, anyone going on the mountain must receive training in the cultural aspects of the mountain and how to be respectful to that cultural area. Seven, I am asking the university to substantially reduce the length of its request for a lease extension. We need to ensure that the stewardship of the mountain is revisited in an appropriate period, and we all need to take another look at activities on the mountain in mid-century. 8, I am also asking the university to voluntarily return to full DLNR jurisdiction all lands not specifically needed for astronomy. This would involve over 10,000 acres and would allow for cultural-based management of much of the mountaintop. This was an alternative proposed in their pending EIS document for their lease renewal request and would be a significant act of good faith in ensuring the proper balance of activities on the summit. 9, the university will ensure the full use of its scheduled viewing time on the telescopes. 10, finally, I am asking the university to make a good faith effort to revisit the issue of greater payments by the existing telescopes now, as well as requiring it in all new lease applications. For all of these activities, the university will set forth a schedule for their completion, which must be done as quickly as possible. Third, I am asking the TMT leadership to significantly increase the level of support they are providing Native Hawaiian students interested in the areas of science and technology. This can include admission and scholarships at their own institutions or partner institutions. First priority would be for students on Hawaii Island, and then to students statewide. As in many areas of Hawaii's life, we need to take a much longer view of our resources and to plan for them in 10 years, 40 years, and even 100 years. On Mauna Kea, there is so much that needs to be done, and we look forward to working with all of those involved as we work to find the right balance of culture and science on this most significant cultural asset. Thank you very much.
So we'll be taking a very brief question and answer period. So the governor's running on a tight schedule. So if you would please ask your best first 1 or 2 questions.
Governor,
Yeah.
why not give everything to the DLNR because it's a land use issue versus a scientific research issue?
The university has a current lease extending to the year 2033. So we are honoring that lease.
And what makes you think the DLNR can do a better job of managing it? And will you give any resources to help them manage it better?
Well, I do think that creating the Mauna Kea Cultural Council is a big part of that. And those that will be asked to serve, I think will add significant value in providing the cultural aspect to management of Mauna Kea.
What about
How does that
funding
cultural
resources?
council differ, if at all, from previous community engagements such as Mauna Kea Management Board or Kalukumana therein? Does it acknowledge that and perhaps provide more teeth for people to actually engage in that process?
Well, we will be providing details of the council as we develop it fully, but the council's responsibility will be to advise the board and the Department of Land and Natural Resources directly. It's not to advise the university.
What then is the next step as it applies to either construction for TMT or the gathering and the actual placement of the individuals who will make up this board?
Well, I do believe that it's left to the different organizations to decide their next steps. As I said in my statement, I intend to fully protect and enforce the right of the TMT project to proceed with construction. At the same time, I fully intend to respect and protect the right for the protesters to peacefully protest.
Governor, in terms of the University of Hawaii's timeline, are you envisioning months, years, decades?
We are working with the university and will come up with a specific task-oriented timeline through the end of the year. I do expect in the next several weeks to be able to at least identify the actions required and then set deadlines and timeline. So we definitely will have a more specific and full task list and schedule in the coming weeks.
What do you think this message sends to the broader community abroad, scientific community, about Hawaii's willingness to open their doors?
Well, as I said, I really do believe that science and technology can coexist with culture and on the mountaintop. And clearly, we intend to honor prior approvals already attained. And most importantly, I intend to enforce the rights of the project as well as the rights of the protesters to be able to express their opposition.
When does TNT want to start construction?
I have not had any conversations about that. It's really up to the TMT project at this point.
Governor, you made mention that you'd like the cultural council to be able to review the work on all leases and lease renewals and also EIS. Do you foresee a legal standing for this cultural committee?
We are working on those details specifically and working with the department. So as we identify people to serve on this, we will have more details on what the specific authority and relationship to both the board and the department.
Do you want the cultural committee or council to be able to stop a proposal on the mountain?
Well, Richard, we'll be working through the specific details, and when we have them, we'll make that announcement.
Do you have a deadline for when the council should be constituted?
Well, we are engaged, and I have had conversations with many people that we would be encouraging to be part of the council. But as you know, the whole issue on Mauna Kea is a very passionate issue for many people. So I think that there's a lot of trust building and relationship building that we will need to engage with in order for the council to be as successful as I hope it will be.
BJ, Sarah, any questions? We're all good? Okay. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us here. Thanks.